Hi, this is Laura Zarin. You can see more of my work at www.laurazarin.com. This is part 2 of the tutorial of my sneezing pig painting. So as you can see, I have this little pig here. I'll turn off the texture so you can see what he looks like all by himself. I painted him by hand with acrylic inks and acrylic paint, and then scanned him in, got rid of the white background. And he's pretty cleaned up right now, but his edges are just too hard. It needs a few fixes and just a little more defining. So I have this as my tilting pig layer. I am going to add another layer that I will paint on. I call that the pig paint. But first I noticed that his ear right here is kind of cutting in. So thank goodness for Photoshop, because I can just kind of fix stuff. Make a little mistake in painting, that's okay. I just use the clone tool just to make sure that that ear is actually tucking behind his head. The other thing I'm not quite liking is right here, his head's kind of got a weird angle. So that's all fixed. So what I'm going to do now is to choose the paintbrush. I'm going to use the watercolor tool this time. Make that a little bit smaller, and I'll do his pajamas first. Let's see, I'm going to choose dark green there. Okay. So all I'm going to do is kind of soften up these edges a little bit, and I need to increase the flow on that. It's just not coming out enough. I need a little more paint coming out. And I will just kind of outline. Now sometimes I do a lot more stuff in Photoshop than I'm doing right now. This one, honestly, the painting worked out a little better. I just don't have to. But it just project by project, and also what I feel like. This one I want to retain a little bit of that watercolor look. Okay, and I want to soften that up a little bit, so I'm going to use the smudge tool. Let's see. Smudge that a little bit. So it doesn't look so choppy. So like it kind of takes care of where that paint blended in a little more than I wanted it to. Get a little bit more of that shadow in there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just go to a regular standard brush, and I'm going to back that way off on the opacity and just try to get that a little darker, because really that's still in shadow and it's not showing up as that right there. Now normally when I'm doing more of a color pencil look, I can just smudge the heck out of this and you'll never know. This way you're going to see it, so I'm probably going to undo that. But just to show you, this texture right here is black colored pencil on coquille board. Let's see. Zoom in so you can really see that. So I just colored the heck out of that and scanned it in and did the same high pass filter with an overlay. So let's see what happens when I do that. Okay, now the smudgy look is gone and it looks like colored pencil. A lot of people think I'm using colored pencil, but I'm not. Sometimes I'm using it, a lot of times I'm not. In this case, I'm going for more of a watercolor, and that still looks smudged. So what I'm going to do is take the smudging and some of that brushing out, because I don't like how that's working. You can hear a little dog barking in the background. So I'm going back to my watercolor NKS5, excuse me, brush. I'll just go in there and try and soften up some more of these. Just a little. Don't want it to look like a thick outline, so really just want to soften that up a bit. Okay, so the pajamas are pretty good. I'll probably go in there with a little more detailing later, we'll see. Just a little bit more in the dark. The darks come out a little darker. So what I love about Photoshop and also Manga Studio 5 is that I can make up for all kinds of little flubs that I might make along the way. And that is wonderful. It takes a lot of the pressure out of the painting. You can also see that I still have a little bitty artifact right there from the original scan. Okay. Like I said, I'm just really going for a little bit more definition and a little bit of softening into those edges. See, that kind of disappeared into the green there a little too much. Just a little more definition there. Okay. Deepen those ears a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Change the opacity just a little bit. Play around so I can get, yeah, that's more like it. Okay, I'm also going to press R and get the rotate. Because I am not using a Cintiq, so a little bit more disconnect the eye hand here. It's really hard to cut it out completely from the white background, so this really helps a bit. Okay, let me see. Get a little bit more shading in there. Okay, I really don't want to fuss with this guy too much. Just a couple of more things and I'm going to call him done for now. Okay, so there he is. He's just about ready. Next thing I need, you see I have a shadow here, but I really don't like how that shadow is working out, so I'm going to get a little bit more accurate as shadow. Or not accurate, a little more texture. I don't want it to be too smooth. So let me see here. Oops. There we go. This guy. Okay. Get rid of that. Okay. I'm going to go with that color and just really pull it back so that I can build it up slowly. Just want a little hint so that he's not floating in air. There we go, that's better. Okay, so again, this is without the high pass filters. There it is with it. One thing I can do is just pull this down if I don't want it to show up on the pig so much. I can pull it underneath him and then it just shows on the background and on the shadow. And I think I like that a bit better. So that's it for part 2. Come back for part 3 and I'll show you how I add what's coming next.